Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on episode 7 of season 5 of Natsume's Book of Friends. How is this season flying by so fast? This season's not very long. This season, I believe, is only 11 episodes, which is like the shortest the season has been so far. I know just to give you a heads up, I have gone ahead because I was scheduling out because of the trip I'm about to take. And so this is an episode that I'm recording that's going to be airing while I'm gone. So I wanted to see exactly like how many episodes was in this season to kind of get a roundabout estimate of like, am I going to have to worry about next week recording and things like that. And so I know there's 11 episodes in this season and then some OVAs after this, which is awesome. I'm super excited. But I wanted to make sure there was at least a couple episodes to prep before getting the manga stuff ready because I was like, just for my own anxiety relief. And so, but with this being an 11 episode season, we're on episode 7. We are past the halfway point, like well past it. And I'm like, So it's kind of wild to believe that season 5 has gone by that quickly. It has flown by. And so we're on episode 7, which next week is the rule of 8. We'll see how that goes. But we'll worry about that. We'll cross those bridges when we get to it. But I have loved season 5. Season 4 and season 5 are my favorites so far. Like season 1 through 3, great. Nothing against them. They're all great. Season 3 especially, really good. But season 4 and 5, the jam. The jam. And so I've got a couple comments I want to talk about before we dive in to this episode specifically. With episode 1 of this season, T7 Caro, who is catching up, says there's so much Reiko in the first episode of the season. The author does such a captivating job at building this grandmother and grandchild relationship. And that comment struck me because when you think about it, these are two characters who have never met in real life. They've never met face to face. And yet we've spent 5 seasons of Natsume kind of talking about how he wants to know more about his grandmother because he feels a connection between her and him, and how he wants to kind of understand why she did the things that she did while she was alive and what her end goal was, and kind of how his goals and her goals are not necessarily the same, but they both kind of maybe come from a similar place. And so it's been so fascinating to follow them. But yeah, the fact that they're developing this off-screen, essentially, relationship is so crazy to me. I love it. It's wonderful. I just absolutely am here for it. And then the other comment was from the infamous episode 3 and 4 of this season. I'm still reeling, to be honest. But Sunspots said for episodes 3 and 4 of season 5, I love the idea of the sweetest, kindest, softest being Natsume, innocently and inadvertently stumbling into becoming some sort of rebel vigilante in this episode. But honestly, it's kind of maybe not surprising, because when we went back last season and had the episode where we saw the girls flashback, was it Yumiko or Yuriko, where it was hers and she was meeting Natsume while they were in middle school and he was this like kind of delinquent. I was like, ooh, Natsume has a dark side to him. Natsume has a very deep dark side to him, but he chooses to rise above that and showcase a more positive, optimistic point of view, which I admire and want to emulate. So I really feel that for his character. And I think that it's not surprising that he would have a vigilante streak, especially knowing how he was back then. He just comes across as a softie, but he's got a secret hard edge to him that I love the series does not exploit or make weird. It's so natural. I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's the comments I got. I've had a bunch of other comments, but they were all just really talking about things that we've talked about previously in the series. But this season has been so much fun and I've been having a blast with it. And so I'm excited to keep that train a trucking as we go into episode 7. So none of the other episodes this season are 2-parters, which I'm cool with, but that also makes me curious because it's like, what are we going to do this week? So let's find out, shall we? We are going to start episode 7 of Natsume's Book of Friends, or also known as episode 59 of the series. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I'm trying to think of the series that I have probably watched that's the longest. There were, I think 74 episodes of Monster, which was a while. The longest series is, Attack on Titan overall had like 80 some episodes. So that was a long series. But I think if I was looking at the longest series I've watched, it's definitely Ace of the Diamond, which has like 125 episodes. But I was watching it 3 episodes at a time with that series because it was a sports anime, and I was told with the pacing you need to watch like 3 episodes at a time to not get on cliffhangers. So I did. So I would say that probably the longest week-to-week series I watched has probably been Attack on Titan, or I would say or Kuroko's Basketball. I watched some 2-parters with those. I never watched 2-parters with Attack on Titan, so I would say week to week Attack on Titan's the longest series that I've watched. That and Monster, but I think Attack on Titan's just a little bit longer week to week, so. But with that series at that time, I wasn't watching a lot of different series on the channel, so I think at one point I was watching 2 episodes a week. Don't do that with Attack on Titan. My brain significantly melted. But yeah. Natsume is going to be one of the longest series I've watched week to week, which is so wild. I mean, not complaining, but that's so cool. All right. I've noticed these little, like, Queen Anne's lace in the forefront, in the ED in here. Oh, Tanuma invited them on a trip. Oh, so he says. He just wants the hot springs and sake, of course. Oh my god. Of course, Tanuma, boyfriend goals. Aww. Aww. Of course they have to share the seat together. Nishimura! I like nobody wants to talk about his woes. Yeah. I mean, the last couple weeks have been a little rough for Natsume. Distant festival lights. Okay. Oh. She turns out to be like Matoba's aunt. Oh no, she's Tanuma's aunt. Oh, wow. Okay, I can see the resemblance. I see the resemblance. Love it. Natsume's like, I'm meeting the family. Oh, Kaname. I forget that his name is Kaname. Oh, bless him. All right. Cool. Oh, this crew loves a festival, let me tell you. Oh. 5 other guests. Nice. Oh, I can see the family resemblance. Okay. Oh. It's probably good for your health. Oh, he did. Oh, everybody knows him. Oh. What a contrast that everyone here. Oh. Oh, boyfriend, ma'am. Look at Madara on the step. Too adorable. Thank you for being a friend. Da 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 da. All these young men. Here you go, Nishimura. You found love. I mean, normally don't take candy from strangers, but. Aww. Oh my god! Look how cute he is! Madara's like, I'll wreck that whole bag of leaves. I was gonna say, the contrast, we're gonna talk about this in discussion. Oh. I mean, they kind of hinted at that. Oh, because of all the yokai. That's why he got the fever. Because he would get a fever a lot from all the yokai around. Aww. Hmm. Aww. Just let these boyfriends have their time together. Oh my god. Aww. What? Not the photos you were thinking of, Nishimura. Oh, the ghost pictures. Madara, they are bound and determined to make him the cutest thing since sliced bread in this episode. Aww. That's so cute. These wholesome boys. It's quiet. It's been too normal around here with all these yokai supposedly in the area. Oh. Shit. Why? Okay. Okay. See what yokai it is. Oh, I love it. Oh my god, of course, in the attic. Oh my god. Of course! Of course! Sensei! Shit. Did Sensei come back? Hmm. But Tanuma knows. Tanuma saw that side eye. Something might have come into the inn last night. Uh-huh. Hmm. Okay. I'm glad Natsume can tell someone about this. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Hmm. Uh-huh. Something's not right. Oh. Ooh. Or one of them's the yokai. But who came overnight? Oh, creepy! Oh. Ooh. Oh. If they want to. Mm. Oh, yeah, well, you've seen him disguised as Natsume. Oh. Oh, trust us. Yes! Kind of. Hmm. To check things out, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. So he's good. Man, every time I see that exit sign, I think of Neon Genesis. Hmm. Oh, the kid's voice. But I mean... Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, no! Hmm. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh, why the noises? Oh my god. Is it Madara in the box? Nope, it's that. Oh my god, this old woman. Oh. Oh, she looks like the Eno woman. Oh my god. Yeah. Ito. Oh my god. Uh-oh. Has she always been a yokai? Or is she just... Oh. Oh my god, and Tanuma. Oh my god. Oh. Holy shit. Okay, this took a turn. This took a turn. Oh. Don't touch my pet! I like it's his pet instead of his lunch now. Great. The white bun creature. Oh. Well, that girl don't need first aid by now. Oh, shit. Oh. With the exit sign and everything. Yeah. Oh, good. Good on you, Tanuma. Hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, do we tell him? Hmm. That I stood up all night finding. Oh. True. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. To be a jerk. Oh. Yeah, that's a bit creepy indeed. Hmm. Okay, establish a little boundary. Oh, you put that hand on that shoulder, Tanuma. You do that, sir. Not look at Madara. He knows. Hmm. Uh, Me jealous of a couple? No, no. Oh, hello, black turtleneck. Not suspicious at all. Hmm. Okay. Like, shit, I've got to figure this out. Ah! Oh. Oh. Did you? Was it the kid? Oh. Oh my god, that's the creepiest thing. Do you want to play a game? Oh my god! Oh my god! Shit! Crap! Oh my god! Knew we couldn't trust. I wonder if Tanuma was staring for that reason because he sensed something. Enough of this crap! No, 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 no! Oh my god. Oh, wow. Oh, she can glow just like Madara. Oh. My boyfriend's in danger senses are tingling. Oh no. The same way. You shut up right now. Is he gonna sit there and watch it with Natsume? If he does, oh my god. Oh. Oh. Oh, angel baby. Is Ito gonna help him? And she did. Oh. Oh. Yeah. And you know all about that. Aww. Oh, good. They can go together to the festival tomorrow. Good. Good. Awesome. Oh. 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 Uh-huh. Oh, don't you? Ah, Madara, look at him! Look at him! Oh. 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 For Tanuma. That's not it. Oh. 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 Oh, shut up. Yes. Yes. Oh. There's a secret I can't tell you. Wow. That just, oh, my heart. My heart. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh, I love you hugs, Madara. Oh! Oh! This season's so good! You weren't gonna get tears out of me, show, but oh my god! Oh! Oh! I am beside myself. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, show. Okay, show. Okay. Holy cow, that was amazing. I am in love with this season so much. This season's amazing. Oh. I also found out that Aimer, yes, Aimer is the one that sings this ED. Somebody in the comments was talking about it, and I was like, I didn't realize this Aimer. They're so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, my heart. Oh. Well, fine. Oh my god, y'all. I am in love with this season and this episode. I mean, come on. Come on, season 5. Come through, season 5. Oh my gosh. Every episode this season has been surprising to me. Even if there's not much that can match the intensity of episodes 3 and 4, because they are probably some of the most intense episodes of the series so far. But this episode was great and introduced some concepts that I wasn't even thinking about and tying some things together that I wasn't even thinking about. And this mangaka is crazy because they can take stuff that is from years and years ago in the manga in terms of when it was published and seasons ago in terms of when I've watched it and bring those concepts back around, and you're just like, I hadn't even thought of that. And that's wild. And I'm 1,000 times here for it. So I was distracted by the opening shot of the little, like, the weeds in the front that were reminding me of the ED. And so I missed the first line, which is the most relevant, and that's that Tanuma invited me to an inn run by one of his relatives. So when they showed up at the inn, I thought that it was a random inn they'd been invited to go clean up because his dad is a priest and probably knows other people with other inns around other shrines. And so when that woman walked up that's Tanuma's aunt, I was like, oh, that'd be funny if she was like Matoba's cousin or something. But no, she's Tanuma's aunt. And they go there to clean everything up. It's super cute. Of course, Tanuma has to sit next to Natsume because the Book of Boyfriends. I love that Madara, gets to come on these trips. Nobody really questions it. I think it's fun. Also, one thing that is consistent in this show that I'm really a fan of is season to season. And I know it has to do with character design and they keep these animations on lock, but I just love the consistency in clothing, especially when you have characters in series whose clothing changes often. So I feel like, you have staple items of clothing like the green and beige jacket that Natsume has. It's like a staple of his wardrobe. So it's cool when the show keeps that consistent for us. But this is cute. Man, I was joking at first that Ito-san was going to be like the answer to Nishimura trying to find love on this trip as a joke, but then we find out she's a yokai, and I was like, oh no. So Nishimura just wants love, right? And if Taki's not going to work out for him, maybe he's realized that he's barking up the wrong tree there, then he's going to find love somewhere else. And Kishimoto's like, okay, then. I like Kishimoto just ignores his pleas for love for the codfish cheese sticks. So yeah. So Natsume's like, I really need to go and get away after the last couple weeks of craziness. It makes me, this episode, just a side note, I know I won't find out until the manga, but this episode makes me feel like episode 6, last week's episode, was definitely anime only, because, we had Natsume in 3 and 4 with the whole deal with Matoba and the Exorcists, and then episode 5, we had Taki and the whole thing with the traveling rabbits, as you can see. And now we have Tanuma to follow that up with. So it just feels like maybe episode 6 was anime only. We'll see. But I could be wrong. But it could be that Natsume just skipped a little while and now wants to get away again. But this inn is super cute. I love the aunt being there, being like, you brought some friends. And they all call him Kaname-chan and Kaname-kun. And Tanuma's like, everybody's just going to tease me while I'm here. It's super sweet. But I like that he basically brought his friends for cheap labor to help clean up the shrine. But on the other hand, they get to go to the festival and they get to stay in a pretty sweet looking shrine with like a spa and a hot spring. So, and the views looked incredible. So, I think that it worked out really nice. It looks like they got like the suite, which is cool. And there was only 5 guests there, so apparently it's not one that features a lot of different guests. It's not totally booked all the time, which is kind of cool. It doesn't feel crowded, which again, I like the world building and setup that they're in these locations where if a yokai shows up, like it does in this episode, you don't have like lots and lots of people roaming around that could be collateral damage. There's only like 5 guests. So it felt very much almost like an Agatha Christie novel in a sense, where you're trying to figure out like who done it and who's the secret yokai, and there's only so many guests, so you got to narrow it down and use process of elimination, which I thought it was going to be the little girl that was, because we heard like the little chipper laugh. I thought it was going to be the little girl that was the yokai, and then we find out that she was just brought there. It was the woman from the couple that was the yokai, and I did not expect that at all because they were a couple. You would assume process of elimination, but she strung along the other guy, which begs the question. We're going to bring that up here in just a second, but I like that they established as they're sweeping the stairs that because they're minors, they can't serve sake. There's a rule like that here in the US where I've had some students that are not 21 that they can work in a bar or they can work in a restaurant, but they can't serve alcohol because they're not old enough, because obviously. So that's interesting to know that in Japan, it's kind of a similar rule. But poor Madara, he's like, I just want sake. This series, this season in particular, is bound and determined to be like, oh, do you want to see the cutest Madara poses possible? Of course you do. And I'm like, so he looked adorable in so many shots. Like, I'm going to have so many screenshots to take of him because he just looked adorable all throughout it. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, and then he hears about the festival and Madara's like, fried squid! Our giant noble yokai is becoming so domesticated over the seasons. So I wanted to bring up a couple things. And one of them was the fact that Tanuma lived around here with the presence of lots of yokai, and that's when Ito-san shows up. Now, Ito-san being so happy to see him, she came across to me. I did not foresee her being a yokai at first. I did not. I did think she was a little bit over-enthusiastic with the candy, but I thought that her being so over-enthusiastic around Tanuma and his friends was the sign of a contrasting element that I wanted to talk about with you all. And that is the idea that Tanuma in this small town was really, really, really popular. Like, a lot of people liked him. They liked his dad. They all treat him very nicely and kindly. And the thing that was heartbreaking for me in the episode is that you contrast that with how Natsume was treated in his hometown. And it was not very good. Natsume was not treated well by the people in his hometown. They called him weird and a liar, and they ostracized him, and sometimes they abused him. And to see that contrast of Natsume's upbringing and how he was not welcome in his hometown, and to see this with Tanuma and how he is welcome in his hometown is wild to me. It's wild. It's crazy. And I cannot believe it. So there you go. But yeah, she's like, oh, what a cute boy. And then she's like, are you a friend? And Tanuma's like, well, I'd like him to be more than a friend. If you know what I mean. Madara on that little step watching her. Now, Madara didn't say a damn word about her being a yokai. Didn't say a dang word. But I feel like Madara is also kind of like, I'm not going to say anything because you guys can take care of yourselves. It's totally fine. But yeah, he didn't say a dang word about Ito being a yokai, but maybe he didn't want to say anything because of Tanuma and Natsume and didn't want to bring it up and didn't think it was necessary. But she asked how Tanuma's been, and then she's like, I'm glad you've made a friend. And so then the other guys show up and she offers them all candy, which, for a yokai, okay. I also think it's interesting that Madara notices her offering the candy and doesn't say anything. And then it shows him with like his hand over his mouth, which looks adorable. And then at the moment, I thought that he was thinking of maybe trashing the bag of leaves next to him, but he's probably keeping his mouth shut because she was a yokai and he didn't want to say anything. So then Natsume talks about how popular Tanuma is. And Tanuma's like, oh, it's embarrassing. Which I admire Natsume so much because Natsume could be bitter. He could be bitter about Tanuma having this childhood where he was, popular and well received by other people versus Natsume, who's had to struggle to even find a friend in, the town that he currently lives in. But Tanuma talks about living in the town next over. But I think an important thing that gets brought up in this episode is that, not everybody has it easy going through everything. Natsume had a hard time growing up, and Tanuma talks about being less healthy than he was now, which we had established that Tanuma gets migraines and stuff whenever yokai are around, and Madara said he was coming with them because the area was populated with yokai. So it really puts two and two together of why Tanuma would be a little bit sickly if he was surrounded by yokai that were making him sick the whole time. He just didn't even realize it at that time and place. So, and his dad was working weekends sometimes and wasn't home, and he was often sent here when he had a fever, and his aunt worried about him a lot. But Ito, who lived close by, would bring pears and cough drops. But it makes me happy to see how happy both of them were with me. And yeah, so they had the candy that none of them ate, and it shows them getting everything ready for the customers. Of course, Nishimura's struggling with the trays, and Natsume's like doing double duty because why not? But I love these kids, these hardworking kids. Who says Gen Z doesn't want to work? These guys are hard at it, and then they get to go to the hot spring. I love Madara with the little with the towel on his head. Of course, Natsume gets to be by Tanuma because of course. I also like the fact that these guys, I just like seeing Natsume and his friends all just kind of hanging out and being normal teenage boys and having a good time. Although, when Kishimoto said that his dad sent him with a picture book, that at least Nishimura was thinking of it being like of ladies. And then he pulls it out and it's ghost stories instead. We got to keep it PG, right? But I love that they read the ghost stories and it was super cute. And then they're all like, okay. So as they're all about to go to sleep, they have the big pillow fight, which is super cute. I think it's adorable. And Natsume wakes up to hear the sound of like the children's laughter and sees the one yokai going up into the attic. Which these guys are hard sleepers because they don't even notice a thing. And Madara squeezes up there, the white fluff creature that he is, to go check things out. So yeah, I like that when Natsume wakes up and says that he couldn't fall asleep, he was like, oh yeah, I had so much fun I couldn't fall asleep at night. And Nijimura and Kishimoto just instantly brush it off. But Tanuma, the little fine detail of him looking out of the corner of his eye being like, something happened. He's like, something happened last night and you know it. But I appreciate that whenever Tanuma asks what happened, Natsume kind of like clenches his fist like, I owe Tanuma to tell him the truth because he's my friend and because he's asking. And that shows good strides in Natsume's character to make that character growth and be like, okay, I'll talk to you and tell you about it. something might have come into the inn last night. And it was probably a yokai. So they go back to eat breakfast, and when they sit down, they notice that a tray is missing. And so one extra person is here than was there before. I liked that, honestly, I thought this guy in the black turtleneck was suspicious the entire time. I was so wrong. I should know better than to judge by conjecture, but I thought that he was going to be suspicious the entire episode. And then he turned out to be a red herring where he was like, I'm just enjoying my privacy. Leave me alone. In fact, it was the girl. Something else that's kind of creepy about it is the fact that we've established in this episode that yokai can pass themselves off as humans and potentially seduce and possess and use other humans like she did. Which is not a novel concept, because even since season 1 with the sparrow and the fireflies in season 2, we've had episodes where yokai and humans have interacted like that, but I feel like this added like an extra danger element to it that wasn't there before. So yeah, Natsume's trying to figure out, he's trying to be all Nancy Drew and figure out, well, where's the extra yokai and what can we do? So then Natsume tells Tanuma that even people who don't have the power to see yokai can see them if they show themselves, which Tanuma's like, oh, okay. And that's when Tanuma brings up, if somebody you thought was a person turned out to be a yokai, that would be really sad. Yeah. And that moment was such a big moment because to me, it's tying back to all the different times we've seen. Like the one episode that sticks out in my mind so clearly, I think it was episode 3, was when Natsume was talking to the yokai on the swings and he looks over and the woman's like, who are you talking to? That was like the first episode. I was like, oh my God, that's terrifying and so sad. And now Tanuma brings it up and Natsume's like, yep. I've had that happen a lot, actually. It is kind of sad. But then it could happen to Tanuma. And then that leads us to the whole bookend scene, but we're not there yet. So while they're clearing up stuff for reservations, Natsume sticks behind to question all the guests and be as nonchalant as possible about it. And we see the girl in the mask, and then she walks by. What's interesting is that she walks by the woman from the couple who laughs about it, which is interesting. That should have been like foreshadowing. And plus, when the woman laughed at the little girl, then she fell over immediately afterwards. So that should have been foreshadowing. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, Natsume goes into, he's suspicious of Akasaki because he can't question him yet. He goes into the back room and that's when he sees the yokai and we find out that it's Ito-san. The mask I used for the festival was stolen. So we need to get it from the thief. And of course, Natsume is horrified to find out that Ito-san is a yokai herself, that she served the Mizunagi shrine for years, and my job is to protect the mountain festival. So let's establish something. She is a shrine yokai. She was assigned to protect the shrine and to watch over it, and it's easier to do that as a human, so that's why she disguises herself. There's a moment coming up where she says something and it pans straight to Madara. And I'm like, because Madara, I'm like, are you a shrine temple yokai? Were you protecting something of Reiko's? And then Natsume released you? What? There was a moment where she said something and it panned to Madara. And I was like, oh, we need to talk about that. So it'll be when Madara comes up here in just a minute. But she's like, you can't tell anybody who I am or I'll hurt everyone, including yourself. I need you to help me find the thief instead. So I love that she uses her eyes to kind of try feel and peer into Natsume's mind to see what's going on. And that's when Madara shows up and she's like, that white bun creature is your friend too, huh? And she's like, I have to return to the festival, so keep looking while I'm gone. But then, of course, Natsume runs into Tanuma. I'm glad he didn't hear Natsume say Ito-san. I'm also glad that Tanuma was on the ball and got the first aid kit to the little girl. That's awesome. Good for them. And of course, Natsume doesn't want to tell Tanuma because he's like, I don't want Tanuma to get in trouble and I don't want Tanuma to feel sad knowing that. I feel like because Natsume has had so many hard times and has felt so badly when he found out that humans were yokai, he doesn't want Tanuma to have that same level of disappointment that he had at one time as well. So he's like, no, I don't want that to happen to you. So the yokai who stole the festival mask is lurking in the end. Madara just comes out and says it. He's like, yeah. And I like that Madara's like, look, I didn't say specifically who, but Tanuma can help us. I like that Madara's like, look, let's get this solved sooner rather than later. And so they go looking around, and Natsume asks, why pretend to be a human? And Madara's like, well, most people do that just to be a jerk. But a nasty person like that is trying to get the power of the festival and is all excited about having that opportunity. So they're like, well, we have to find the mask, otherwise there can't be the evening dance. And again, Natsume's had a lot of character growth, because originally he would not want Tanuma to help at all. But this time around, he sets some boundaries. He's like, okay, I'm okay with you helping, but if you notice anything, you tell me right away. And Tanuma's like, okay, sure thing. So that's really cool. And then he's like, you too, Natsume. Oh, when he puts the hand on the shoulder of Natsume saying you too, my ship, it grows 3 sizes, and Madara's just looking because of course. So yeah, so then when the couple walks by, Tanuma looks at her almost as if you wonder if he notices something, like something's off about her, which now that we know, that was definitely Tanuma figuring things out before everybody else. And of course, Nijimura, teases him being like, oh, are you jealous of that couple? And he's like, no, which he wasn't. He was figuring things out. I also like this one guy when Natsume comes up there, he does not want to be questioned. And Natsume's like, can I come in? Can I question you? Anything else you need? And he's like, nope. I love that it proves that there's just some people that are really not suspicious. They just don't want you in their personal space. So yeah, they're trying to wrap everything up, and Natsume's like, shit, I'm not getting any leads. And luckily, the little girl shows up with the mask. Even the guy was kind of suspicious because his eyes were kind of glazed over, and I'm like, is he the yokai? No. So we find it with the girl. She looked like, with her being as tiny as she was with the mask on and her hair being like middle parted, it made me think of Jigsaw from the Saw series. It was like, would you like to play a game? And then, of course, she turns around, and that's when the yokai takes the mask. Who looked creepy as hell, by the way, and the poor guy was knocked unconscious. She was controlling him to help her blend in. That's terrifying that yokai can do that. Quite so. So she was headed for the roof, and then I love that Madara's like, I am tired of this crap. Let's stop this right now. And pins her to the ground. And as everything's going down, Ito-san shows up before the mask is broken. Love that Ito-san can do the same thing that Madara can with the blue light. And then as the blue light flashes, that's when Tanuma's Book of Boyfriend senses start tingling, and he realizes that there's a yokai fighting nearby. So Natsume ends up getting a fever from the ordeal, and Tanuma goes to visit him. Of course he does. I thought at first that when he was telling the story about his dad waiting to take him to the festival, I thought when he said we watched it from the lights from here, that Tanuma was going to sit down with Natsume on that futon and watch the lights from there, like the most romantic thing ever. And I was like, but luckily Natsume gets better and they go and see the performance the next day, like normal people would do. So I thought that was great. And he's like, we could go do rifle shooting, cotton candy. And he talks about getting lost. And that's when Ito helped him to find his way back. Tanuma's such a cute kid. He's really adorable. And I love Ito as the shrine, making sure that everybody was having a good time at the festival. That was really great. And Natsume thinks back to when Ito told him to keep it a secret. And Natsume's like, that feels like it's so selfish to keep the secret, but that's also very kind and showing that you care about him. And I think that's so interesting because back in episodes 3 and 4, we're talking about like some of the methods that the exorcists have and some of the secrets that they have are done out of kindness because they care about them. And so whether we feel it's that way or not is a different story. But I like the idea that Natsume's like, I've been trying to keep Tanuma safe, so I was trying to keep secrets from him because I didn't want him to get hurt, and that was selfish of me, but it was also me trying to be kind. You're doing the same thing, so I get exactly where you're coming from, right? So then I love that Nishimura's like, you're such a wimp. So they make him onigiri, let him rest, and then they say they're going to go see the festival the following day. And then Ito says, I'm going to be there in time for the dance. And Natsume talks about how Tanuma helped him. And he's like, of course I didn't tell him anything about you. And she says, I feel relieved. He always seems so lonely. But humans really do grow up so fast. He looks happy and has so many friends. And then she says, just kidding. This part here, where she says, just kidding. I'm a shrine guardian. I don't play favorites with individual humans. And it cuts immediately to Madara. It cuts immediately to him. And I was like, bullshit, you don't play favorites. I'm like, is Madara a shrine guardian? Is he playing favorites? Yes, he is. Natsume is definitely his favorite. Was Reiko his favorite before? Probably. So I'm like, oh my God, girl. I was like, oh, the pan to Madara is devious. That moment. And she's like, well, keep my identity a secret until the festival. And she says, well, after the festival, if people know who I am, I can't keep protecting the shrine. So I'll have to go to a different town and assume a different form. And I love that Natsume's like, then I won't tell anybody because Tanuma loves you. He doesn't know you're a yokai. And so I don't want you to leave because that'll be somebody he cares about being gone. And I don't want that for him. I want you to be here so he knows that you're, eventually I think Tanuma was going to figure out because she's an old woman. And eventually in 20 years, if he's like, how are you still alive? And she's like, woo, But Natsume in the moment isn't thinking about that. He's just thinking about how he doesn't want somebody that Tanuma's close to go away. And that again, how many seasons has it been? And we've been talking about how exorcists and other people have told Natsume to forget about yokai, don't get involved with the yokai, don't let them stick around. And Natsume is like, yeah, that's all well and good, but she's doing so much good for Tanuma and she does good for the town. She doesn't need to leave just on our account. And so he agrees to keep a secret. And he's like, I won't tell anyone, I promise. As long as you want, as long as you can, please stay. I love that he doesn't beg her to stay, but he says, if you don't want to leave, don't leave. Like, just stay here and I'll keep it a secret. And as long as you want to stay here, that's fine. The growth on our boy, y'all. The growth. And I love that she gives him the head pat and she's like, isn't this what you humans do to feel better? Adorable. Adorable. So yes, they have the festival. I love that Madara gets his fried squid. And then, of course, everybody's got candy apples and all that. And then they watch the festival dance. And as they're watching the festival dance, Tanuma says, I'm so sorry, Natsume. I wasn't there when you needed me again. Tanuma, you were there doing all the things. You were perfectly fine. Don't, you boys need to get some more self-esteem, I swear. And he's like, no, I was able to do what I needed to do because you helped me and you understood what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I love that that's when Ito-san pops in and they wave at her. And Natsume's like, I'm so sorry, but there's a secret I can't tell you. And at first I was like, that's really sad that he can't tell him the secret, but I like that he's keeping it, that, to keep Ito there for him. And I was like, I guess, what's one secret between boyfriends, right? But then Tanuma finishes the thought. He closes the book. As they're watching the dancer with the mask on for the festival, Tanuma talks about how he says in that moment, he's like, I remembered that when I was little, I was sometimes scared of Ito. And I thought about how it was possible she was a yokai. I can't say why, but she seemed different from all the other people. And I wondered if that's why he was able to detect that the one woman was the yokai, because she seemed off as well. And he's like, it was like I never thought yokai were real, but ever since I met you, I've started to think that maybe she is one. And of course, Natsume in this moment is like, oh my God, he's figured it out. And so Tanuma says, well, so, and Natsume's like, so you're going to be sad and, have these horrible thoughts like I did. And I love that he hugs Madara tighter when he says it, because he's afraid of what he's afraid of what Tanuma's going to tell him. And he says, so now that I've met a friend like you, I came here because I wanted to show her my friend. And I was like, oh my God, he basically wanted Natsume to meet the family. Not only his literal family, but his spiritual ones as well. Oh, I was beside myself, y'all. And he says, "Thank you, Natsume. I wanted to show you off to that old coot." I was like, ah! And Natsume just like kind of, he doesn't smile. He gets kind of emotional there. He's like it wasn't a smile. It was a, kind of like a, all right, okay, I see how it is. I loved that. Oh my gosh. Like, it wasn't what Natsume expected. And it's almost as if all these people around him remind him that this is not the same as it was when he was a kid. This world doesn't have to be as he knew it. Like, there are really good people out there. Just my heart, my heart, my heart, my heart. I love it so much. This episode was absolutely adorable. It was so sweet. It was everything, and it proves that this season is just absolutely amazing. I am in love with it. Love it so much. So, I can't believe that next week we are on episode 8 of the season, but also the rule of 8. Also the rule of 8. I'm ecstatic and I cannot wait. I'm hoping that I get to see it before I go on my trip. I'm really hopeful that I will, but we'll see. So, in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'm going to be back really soon with episode 8 of Natsume's Book of Friends. Bye!